Hello and welcome back to MAPiT. This is Make It Clear with Tracy, an interesting weekly podcast where we dissect life's principles, concepts, strategies, ideologies, and of course, perspectives. So you're welcome on board. And perhaps you're joining for the first time. Please do well to look up the details in my channel, my YouTube channel on Facebook, on Instagram, Tracy Giami Dapa, and you see lots and lots of messages, conversations, interactions around things that matter to life. So welcome on board and welcome. So this is the second week of March, and of course we have started marching. So how was last week? Happy new month. We said keep marching the month of March. Oh yes, let's march. It's happening already. So we're still looking at the advancement series. In the month of March, we're looking at advancement. Okay, advancement clearly connotes movement, moving forward, marching for what it entails, for what it means. So last week we already talked about the overall overview of advancement. You can feel free to look up last week's podcast. So today, I want to now go into how we can advance. But before I go further, I would like to share something Apostle John in the Bible, in the book of I think John, 3rd John, he was doing a letter to his friend Gaius, and he said something. It's a scripture a lot of us are familiar with. He said, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prospereth. That's a very good wish. That's a beautiful message. Imagine you open a mail and it's from a good friend of yours. And in checking on you, most of us just chat on WhatsApp. Oh, I'm just checking up on you, But this one was a bit deep. He said, look, I wish above all things, there are many aspects and facets of life. Above all things, I wish that you prosper. This is Paul talking to his friend Gaius in the Bible. So I want to borrow that, phrase or that aspect of the letter he wrote and remind us of what prosperity really means. Prosperity is huge. Prosperity sounds like success. In vernacular terms, like you don't hammer, or you've consistently hammered and become so settled and wealthy that there's no argument. Everybody knows that you're a wealthy guy, you're a wealthy girl, you're a wealthy woman. This family is wealthy, settled. Prosperity, that's the height of success. Remember, we all have goals, we all have our dreams, we all have our desires. And the whole idea is walking daily towards achieving those dreams. There's no one person, I think, who doesn't have desire of prospering. There's no one person, I think, who doesn't have the desire to succeed. Okay, so advancement is quite an apt topic. Okay, so today I want to look at how we can advance. You're doing well, everything is fine, you're settled, but hey, there's an opportunity to do something better, do something more, or move forward a bit from where you were. That's what we're talking about. So let's be intentional about it, okay? We need to be intentional about success, about prosperity, about advancement. And intentionality means you have the mindset. You wear it. You wake up in the morning, you know that I need to advance, I need to grow, I need to move. And then it means that in as much as I've hit the mark, I'm already in the Hall of Fame, but remember, there's something new, there's something different you can do. So advancement mindset means you need to be strategic. Strategic advancement means you need to plan, be intentional about it. So take, for example, you started your swimming classes and you're doing well, but after 30 minutes of swimming, that's it for you. In the context of advancement, growth, okay, if you want to push yourself, you need to be intentional and say, in the next 3 months, I would like to be able to swim for 1 hour or 90 minutes consistently and not be tired, not get exhausted. So that means you've set a target, you've put a timeline, and then it now means you need to be intentional to do things deliberately to allow you hit that goal. Very basic example. So back to your goals, back to your general dreams, your visions, okay? Advancement requires intentionality. So you need to plan, tell yourself, this is what advancement means to me. I have a shop at Onitsha, okay? And I've had this shop for 10 years, for example. Now, advancement could mean increasing your product options. Maybe I sell diapers for babies, but now I realize that when new mothers come to buy diapers, they now need more, baby bath, nappies, or whatever. So advancement for you could mean increasing your products, options. Advancement could also mean opening other branches, collaborating. So I'm just giving an example of, so you need to define what advancement would mean to you, what progress would mean to you in your stage. So we are all in the race. Everybody's at different levels. So don't feel pressured. Don't feel too challenged to say, oh, I must meet up with Kofi or Kojo or what. No. Take your time, understand your journey, understand your place, but then be strategic enough to be able to define where you are, see where you want to go, and then make a strategic plan on how you intend to advance. That's one way to, advance, to progress, to succeed. Another way, apart from strategic planning, would be skills development, okay? So maybe your aspect is not pure business. It's not about opening shops and having branches everywhere, but your personal development is important. How much skills do you have? How much skills do you have? So when you look inward and you do an assessment of how much hands-on skills you are, how relevant are you in today's business world? You need to ask yourself that question. And when you know the answer, then like the first point, you strategically plan, which means you could decide to enroll in courses. We have Udemy, we have Coursera, internet. There are lots of sites where you can just go, even YouTube. There are lots of things you can Google how to do this, how to do that on YouTube, and you learn. So that's about personal development. Develop your skills, enhance yourself, be a better version of you. And trust me, you're adding value to yourself, and that's another way to advance. I'll give you a third one and I'll close for today. The third way to advance is to network, okay? Open up your network. Don't be a solo person. Don't be a solo person. So networking is so important, okay? You don't want to be a solo person. You don't want to do your things in silos. So like I said, think about what that objective, what that goal is. You must appraise yourself. Look at where you currently are and then have a target to say, this is where I want to be by so time. You put a time to it. And when that is clear, remember we're coming from February, the month of clarity. Once you have that clarity, advancement is the next thing you want to do. So in advancing, you have to clarify the goal, the target, okay, and then intentionally go around to network. Look for people with similar interests, similar passion, similar visions, network, and you see that you could learn from them. You could get information that will help you build, okay, in the course of networking. And networking doesn't go alone. It goes hand in hand with what we call coaching or mentoring. So in the course of networking, you might find people who are more senior to you in that field, in that area. So you connect with them, stay in touch, learn from them, and from time to time, you check yourself, appraise yourself to say, how are you doing? So within the 3 months or the 6 months or the 1 year or the 2 years you set for yourself to advance, to build, develop yourself and grow, you can now look back and say, hey Tracy, how are you doing? How have you been doing on this subject? So 3 ways to advance. We said, be strategic about it, be intentional. We said you need to develop your skills, okay? And now we say you need to network and find a mentor, or through mentorship or coaching, you can build yourself up and learn and of course advance. The fourth one actually is appraisal, but I leave it as just like a continuous cycle. Every now and then you appraise yourself. Every now and then you check yourself to say, how am I doing? How am I doing? How am I doing? And if it's not looking so good, you just go back to where you stopped and then start all over again. So I hope that was useful. I've left you with intentional points on how to advance yourself. I wish you the best in the month of March. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and spread the good news. Keep winning. Catch you next week. I'm your host, Tracy Dapa.